Okie dokie, artichokes, artichoke, artichokes. Here we go, here we go, here we go. Okay, so what you're watching right now is you're watching the Oakbridge live stream of the Q&A. Maybe if I put that there, that'll look somewhat better. So we don't have anyone in the Oakbridge other thingy. So for now, this will do. So, hey Isaac. So this is the Oakbridge Institute live. We do this on Monday at 2 o'clock Pacific. We started a little bit late today, but I do this every week to answer your questions about mediumship development, personal development, anything. Literally, you can ask me about literally anything that you want to ask me about. So, yeah. Let me see. Is my right audio correct? Hold on. Yes, it is. Okay. So this is where you can ask me any questions about your development, mediumship development, anything you want. Someone did ask me, Michael, the healing that you do, is that Reiki? What is it called? It has no name. It's not Reiki. What I do is not Reiki. Very, very emphatically not Reiki. And the reason that I'm emphatic about it is because Reiki has a series, like a very specific modality that has specific rules and ideas about how it works, why it works, all these sorts of things. And what I do is not Reiki. There are no rules. There is nothing that has to be done in a certain way. There is nothing that needs to occur in that way. So yeah, it is just a form of energy healing. Cleaning my glasses because your boy needs to clean his glasses. But anyway, that's that. So feel free to ask me about anything to do with your own mediumship development, any questions that you have about spirit, healing. When does my audiobook come out? My audiobook is being recorded, but I'm going so slow on it. I'm going so slow. It's just because the time of day that I have to do it is at night. And by nighttime, I'm just like, oh, I really have to sit down and like read a bunch. And also you have to like make sure you say things the right way. And there can't be sounds. And so I have to do it at night. So yeah, it's taking a lot longer than I expected, largely just because I haven't put in the time to do it. So it's on me. So if you want to yell at me, yell at me. Am I going to be doing healings tonight? Yes. So today, this evening around 6:37, probably closer to 7, I will be going live to do healings and readings. So if you're into that kind of thing, free healings and readings, then come back 6:30 or so, around between 6:30 and 7. You'll see that I'm live. If you're not following me already, then I would highly recommend giving me a follow so that you can know when that's happening. Right now we're doing the Q&A. What's the best place to start developing? I would say a couple different options. So number one, you want to join a development circle or course. I would recommend ours at oakbridgeinstitute.org. I would start with Foundations 1. That's where I would start. If that's not financially available to you, we do offer scholarship, at least partial scholarship. So if that's a trouble or difficult thing, we do offer that. Second, we also, if you're wanting to develop, the free thing you can do is start sitting in the power. So I have a sitting in the power meditation on my website at mediummichaelmayer.com that you can get. I would highly recommend that. That's a great place to start. Alternatively, I would also check out my book, Spirit Speaks. That is an excellent source. I literally wrote that book to be able to hand to people and say, here you go. This is the book that tells you how to do mediumship. So that's what I would recommend for a step-by-step sort of approach to that. Yeah, so those are the things I would recommend, either Foundations 1, my book, or getting into a weekly development circle. We teach weekly development circles at Oakbridge on Sundays at 10 a.m. Pacific. Okay, I love that. That resonates with me, though I'm a Reiki master. Amazing. Well, then you would know, Jay, that Reiki is very specific, the different symbols and all that sort of thing. I'm not doing readings right now. I'll be doing readings later, baby. Later. I'll be doing readings this evening around 7 o'clock. So I'm in the midst of figuring out my spiritual journey. Amazing. Well, definitely check out Oakbridge Institute. We are very good at helping people with that. How would you define mediumship? Is it always people that have crossover? Yes, that's specifically what mediumship is. Mediumship is specifically communicating with spirits who have crossed to the other side. That's what mediumship is. There's different forms of mediumship, which we could get into if you're curious about that. But yeah, that's what mediumship is specifically communicating with those who've crossed over. Reading things like people who are living, objects and places and spaces, that is considered psychism. So you're using the same faculty, which is your clairs, but you're using it in a different way. Let me see what else we got here. Why not finish your thought, Katrina? You're in the midst of something. You were in the midst of your sentence is what you were in the midst of. Oh, I just cracked myself up. So this is the Oakbridge Q&A. Ask me anything. That's all. Any time that I give is always going to be listed in Pacific time. Sunday mornings, Pacific time. 10 a.m. I was going to ask you to psychically tell me where my glasses are because I've been blind for a week, LMAO. Oh my goodness. Yeah. I don't know where they are. I'm just as lost as you are. Is a dream visitation a form of mediumship? No. Anyone can have a visitation, whether you're mediumistic or have not developed it. Chelsea B says, can people have both abilities, psychism and mediumship? Yes, absolutely. So really the difference between the two is where you're getting the source of information. So being able to get being able to receive the information comes from your psychic ability, your intuitive ability, your clairs, if you will, so your psychic senses. And it's about where the source of the information is coming from. So if you're mediumistic, you're definitely going to be psychic, but just because you're psychic doesn't necessarily mean that you have mediumistic awareness. You have to develop it. So it's different. So yeah, you can definitely be, if you're a medium, you're already going to be psychic because you're already using your mediumistic ability to perceive through the clairs. So it's just a matter of you just focusing. Where are you focusing? Are you focusing on the spirit communicator that's coming in? Or are you focusing on this object, person, or space? Good. Let me see. Chelsea says, the spirit art workshop on Sunday was really cool. I enjoyed it. Amazing. I'm so glad. I think we're going to be sending out a questionnaire about that. So please respond so that we know what you liked, what you didn't like, and how it can improve. That would be amazing. But I'm glad that you like it. Did you draw anyone, Chelsea? Hi, Michael. My question is, how long does it take for someone to fully develop their mediumship? That's going to depend on a lot of things, Araceli. So basically, it's going to depend on, do you have proper instruction? Are you working with someone who knows what they're doing? If you're not, you could spend years and years and years not getting anywhere. I can't tell you how many of my students come to me having not had proper development, and they've been working at it for like 5 years, and they're still struggling. The teaching and the understanding matters. That's why we developed oakbridgeinstitute.org, because that is where you can learn genuine, accurate information. So yeah, it really does matter on your education, on what your teacher focuses on what they emphasize in their way of teaching. So it's hard to answer that. But if you were to work with us, it takes about 2.5 years. I wouldn't say to fully develop your mediumship, but to get to a point where there's consistency, where there's accuracy, and where you have a good understanding of your ability. I would say that takes about 2.5 to 3 years. Let's see. So another question here. Can a mediumship be learned, or are you born with it? It absolutely can be learned. It is something that anyone can do. Pretty much anyone can do. Unless you have some sort of I would say, mental, what's the word to say? Like challenge of some sort that maybe prevents you from being able to. But generally, most people can develop it. Maybe she's born with it. Maybe it's Oakbridge. How do you do assessments? Are you referring to the assessments we offer to students to see where they would be placed in our school, or are you doing assessments like a spiritual assessment? Chelsea, sounds good. Yes, I did. It turned out better than I thought. Surprised myself and it was validated. Amazing, Chelsea. So you did some spirit art. That's incredible. I'm so happy that you were able to do that. That's freaking awesome. Well done. See, you just get a good teacher and then it works out. Christine's a great teacher and a great medium. You said yes, please, and I gave you 2 options, Kim. I'm not sure which one you're referring to. Abby, you don't actually need to. Abby asks, I know I'm very, I know I have a knowing and I'm very accurate, but I can't visualize. I don't see anything through my third eye except colors. How would I develop seeing? So number one, you don't ever have to see to be a good medium or psychic. You don't ever have to see. If you are feeling, if you have claircognizance, if you have clairaudience, then that's something that is developed. That's just developed through, excuse me, my brain is a little off, guys, because I'm like looking at 2 different screens, so like I'm getting distracted pretty easy. Thanks, brain. Thanks, ADHD. So you don't actually need to see to be a good medium or psychic. You can, and it's great if it does kick in, but that's not actually necessary for you to actually do a good job. You can do an entire reading through the power of feeling or through the power of healing or hearing, and you can do all of this without ever seeing a day in your life. So if you're not seeing, it doesn't actually matter. In fact, most of the time I'm trying to get people to see less and feel more. That's really what it is. Mediumship is the art of feeling. So if you want to develop your mediumship well, focus in on what you feel, not necessarily what you see. Seeing can be helpful in that it adds detail and more information, but it's really what's important is, what do we feel? That's truly the main thing. So don't worry, Abby, if you don't see. If you want to develop it, sit in the power. For all mediumistic awareness, all psychic awareness, the answer is sit in the power to cultivate give the spirit an opportunity to develop your own awareness. To answer your question, Kim, yes. So if you want to do a spiritual assessment, or not spiritual assessment, just an assessment at Oakbridge to see where you would fall in the education, then you would email Oakbridge, support at oakbridgeinstitute.org and ask for an assessment to find out where you would fit. If you've never taken anything ever before, then I recommend Foundations 1. If you've only taken a little bit, I recommend Foundations 1. If you're intermediate, I would still recommend Foundations 1 if you've never taken anything with us, because we teach very differently than other schools and other teachers. And we have exercises that are vital to your understanding that only Oakbridge does, because they were inspired. I was given those exercises that are vital and important to your development with us. You're welcome, Abby. Can someone with emotional turmoil still connect to a sitter's loved one? Example, someone who's lost their pets and still in grief. Yes, you can. When I lost one of my best friends, I happened to be going to Arthur Findlay the next week, and thankfully, I was still able to do readings some of them were really amazing and some of them were not at all, because grief comes in waves. Grief has its ebbs and flows. And so when you are feeling that sense of grief, sometimes you're going to be able to access what you would normally be able to access, and other times it's going to feel so heavy, so thick, that it's going to be really difficult to feel anything. So yeah, I mean, it just depends on the moment and the day. So it is possible. It is possible. It just depends. Other questions? Other thoughts? Interestingly, yeah, so I'm going to be going live again a little bit later, folks. So if you are interested in getting either a reading or a healing, I will be going live, later. You want to learn more about my energy healing? Do you want to ask me questions, or do you want to? Yeah, it depends. What do I suggest for you if you want to learn more? So I think you kind of just have to ask me, because there's not really any place for me to where I have everything already laid out for you of what that looks like, what it is. So it's probably going to have to just be something to ask me. If you have the event next weekend, is Megan solo for class? Correct. Megan's going to be solo for class. You're welcome, Tess. Can someone's spirit cross over before their body does? I don't know about cross over, like fully go to the spirit world. But what I would say is that they can be in partially here and partially there, sort of in that in between place. So when you talk to people who have had near-death experiences and things like that, that's pretty much where they would be, is sort of that in between, out of body sort of space, until that's fully severed, most times. Then yeah, they're still connected to their body somehow. But yeah, they won't experience pain. I mean, every near-death experience you ever hear about, as soon as they leave their body, they're not experiencing any of the issues or challenges that they had in the physical. And if things are still currently happening to their body, they have no awareness of them, of what's going on with their body. They don't feel pain. They don't feel any sort of issue whatsoever. In fact, they're often looking at it with interest, like, what the hell? Okay, that's happening to me, but I'm also still here. And there's a lot of surprise and shock to that reality, oftentimes. Other questions, thoughts, feelings, opinions? You can ask me about anything. You can ask me about your mediumship development, healing, anything. This is open question and answer regarding your spiritual development, spirit world, healing, energy, grief, what my favorite food is, literally anything. You can ask anything that's appropriate. Well, actually, you can ask anything you want. Will I answer it? I don't know. We'll see. We will see. So, yeah. I need to get a haircut, though. Look at this hair. I haven't had a haircut since July. I feel like I'm a 90 or a 2000s like emo guy at the moment. Have you seen those videos of Teslas driving through cemeteries and you can see the outlines of people? I have, Megan, yeah. Are you still a Skin Medica fan? Is the real question. If so, what's your favorite product? So I actually only use one Skin Medica product, and that is the ABA face wash. And then Skin Better is the company that I use all the rest of the stuff. I love Skin Better, so if you've never used Skin Better, I'd definitely check it out. I feel like I'm not improving sitting in the power. Sit 6 days a week. Suggestion. Well, first of all, how would you define improvement in sitting in the power? What is it that you're expecting to experience? How long have you been practicing medium? I've been a developing medium since I was 19 years old, so 18 and a half years. Yeah, it's been a minute. I could have had a child by then, and that child would be an adult now. Oh man, how am I that? Time just flies. Let me tell you what. I don't come out of it with these great experiences everyone else has. What's a great experience? Do you feel peace? Do you feel calm? Do you feel tingling, buzzing, heaviness? Do you feel a sense of love? Do you feel any of those things? Is it odd? Hi, is it odd to never dream of my father or grandma who passed, but often a friend? No, that's not odd. It just is. It just is. It's not a weird thing. Then you already are experiencing all these great things, Janelle. If you're feeling peace, surrender, tingling, buzzing, warmth, heaviness, thickness in the atmosphere, if you're feeling love, if you're feeling peace, you're good. I don't know what more you are hoping for with that. What do you feel you might? What do you feel you're missing out on? What are your thoughts on diving into past life and Akashic records? Yeah, past lives are interesting. I personally tend to be an evidence-based person, so ideally, in a perfect world, if you're going to bring up past lives, hopefully you can get something evidential that can validate it, because otherwise it could just be imagination. Alternatively, past lives, people can process some things through like that sort of past life state, and what they will feel. Hey, Cody, how's it going? What they will feel is healing of some sort. So maybe there is something to that, but I tend to be evidence based. It's important to me that I can have awareness of facts and figures with anything that I do. So, yeah, and Akashic Records, I'm not really an Akashic Records person. I think it's just psychism. People just gave it a fancy name. I actually don't think that there's something called the Akashic Record. I think that we just tap into universal consciousness and we're able to access things from the past, present, and future. And I think that happens due to the disinhibition theory of connection, which is, or disinhibition theory of the brain. The more we quiet our thinking mind, the more access that we have to connect to the spirit world and to our consciousness, and therefore experience and understand far more than we do in this state, including things like past, present, future. So the more that we turn off our thinking brain, the better. So again, this is the Oakbridge Institute Q&A. So you are happy. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have about your mediumship, about me, about spirituality, healing, psychic development, all of the above, astrology. These are all things that I know a ton about. So Cody asks, what is your spiritual checklist every day? Like, walk us through. Sure. So I don't really have a checklist that I do the same thing every day. Every day I am working with the spirit in one way or another. And so, except for maybe Tuesday, Thursday, no, I was going to say Thursday, Friday, which are my days off. But actually, even then, I've been doing a lot of healing. So I don't know that I have anything specific that I do on a regular basis other than maybe sitting in the power, which I try to do regularly. If I'm going to be working that day, then I'm definitely going to give myself some time. By working, I mean like doing a reading or healing or something like that. Then I'm definitely going to give myself some time to become still and quiet, to quiet my thinking mind, set aside all the other things I've been doing or that are on my mind, and be able to just come into the present moment and just feel my energy and my atmosphere. And then, yeah, then I'll usually do my readings throughout the day. While I'm done with that, I'll probably do mentoring at some point. I mean, I have like my days of working are just like bam, 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 bam. So I'm like in an altered state like 90% of the day. And then, once I'm turned off, then the thing is to decompress, to relax, to just let myself be still, and sometimes connect with people. Sometimes it's the opposite. I think also for me, for my own spiritual benefit, is actually working out. So I go to CrossFit Reform, and I love working out because it helps me to kind of come back to reality and in my body and just be really present, which I think is really important for mediums to do, especially if you're like me and you're working all day and you're connecting with the spirit all day. And yeah, so that's kind of my Spiritual checklist. Cody, I wake up every day, haha, add to my gratitude jar, meditate, yoga, and then later meditate. See, Cody, you have a much more beautiful spiritual checklist. That is pretty freaking awesome. I can't say that that I have as well defined of a checklist, and I probably could benefit from doing more of that. Other questions. Let me go back up where other people had been saying things. Hey, Danielle. How's it going? Let's see. I feel like I'm gonna. Okay, into that one. What are your thoughts on diving into past life? Okay, I already answered that one. I'd like to control my clairvoyance and clairaudience more. It happens randomly. Advice? Yes. Especially with clairaudience, the less that you try, the more that you surrender, the more that you relax, that's where it's going to happen more easily. So you have to try not to look for things, search for things, try to make it happen. So I would recommend that. As far as clairvoyance, that's the tricky one that you want to develop because your brain is really good at making up pictures. And so it's important for you to develop the art of feeling first. So I always teach, whether you're doing mediumship, psychic, whatever, foundations of all of this is in feeling energy, understanding energy through the power of clairsentience. Let that be the foundation of your work, and then we build upon that. So that's what I would recommend. Who do you turn on? How do you turn off? I'm assuming the thinking brain. Yeah, the way that you turn that off is by practicing it. So you just sit in a meditative state. So whether that's sitting in the power, which I would recommend for mediumship. So sit in the power. That'll help you to turn off that thinking mind and become more passive and receptive, learning how to notice, accept, let it go, notice, accept, let it go, rather than feeling like you need to do. The less you do, I wouldn't recommend guided meditations that take you down a river, into a dell, have you, cross the thing, pick up an object. Like those kinds of very strong creative visualizations are not helpful for developing your mediumistic awareness. They're helpful for developing your imagination than anything. Did you, in the beginning of your journey, ? Kim, I think I maybe missed the first part of your question somewhere. Cody says, I feel like I have this routine, otherwise my ADHD would have me all over the place. That's fair enough. My ADHD already has me all over the place, so I get it. Would you recommend strengthening Would you recommend strengthening psychic faculty before working on mediumship? Actually, I'm one of those people that does not believe that you need one over the other. But I tend to teach all of my students mediumship first, then I teach them psychism. You'll hear some teachers say, why would you, how can you understand others if you don't understand yourself? And while I understand the sentiment of that, I don't agree with it. I have found that actually my students who develop mediumship first do so much better, because mediumship is very black and white. Something is either true or it is not true, right? Psychism is much more open to interpretation. The edges are a little bit more blurred. It's a little bit more symbolic at times. And I think that makes it more difficult going into mediumship where things are just are. So I actually think it's better to, my own personal opinion, someone else could completely disagree. I personally have found great success with students who develop their mediumship first, and then we transition the source of the information from mediumship and move it into, what are we moving it into? Moving into psychism. So yeah, that's what I would say, Cody. I think Abby, are you still here? Abby, you said, I have a problem monetizing my gifts. I tend to help people. I feel guilty charging them. But that doesn't help my pocket, if you know what I mean. Yeah, you have to get over that. That's the short version of that, because therapists help people, doctors help people. Do they get paid? Of course they do. You should get paid for your time and your energy. Now, you're talking to the guy who also doesn't charge for his healings right now, but that's because I don't believe in charging until I'm really good at something. And while I've had a lot of success, I still want to give it more time. to sort that out. So I believe in charging when you feel like you are doing a very good job at something. That's me personally. And after 18 and a half years, I feel pretty freaking confident in what I can do. Oh, we'll go back. Where did we go? Where did we go? Okay, there you go. What are some of the types of things that you've been able to heal with energy healing? I mean, all kinds of things, all kinds of aches and pains, all kinds of issues, nerve pain. Um, I mean, I have a long list. And also just, I guess it depends on how you define healing. Am I able to take away pain? Absolutely. Am I able to many times keep pain from even returning? Absolutely. Am I able to improve on pains and issues? Absolutely. Infections, I've helped to bring taste back to people who had long COVID, people with nerve pain from MS and other illnesses. I mean, there's just a big, long list. I mean, unfreeze a frozen shoulder was one of those. That was a pretty dramatic and very visually exciting one. So, yeah, I mean, it works. Like I've done mediumship, but I was told I need to focus on psychic development. So thank you for the clarity. Why do you feel like why did they tell you need to focus on psychic development? Like one before the other? Is that what they're saying? Do I do one-on-one mentorship? I do. Yeah, I do mentoring. I do small group mentoring, which is 3 to 4 people. I do 2-to-1 mentoring, which is 2 people and me. And then I do one-on-one mentoring. And all of that information can be found at my website, mediummichaelmayo.com/mentoring. It's either mentoring or mentorship, but I can't remember. I think it's mentoring. A day in the life of a practicing medium. Hello, did I miss much? Just me talking, I guess. Hopefully that's worth something. And yes, Cody, it is through Zoom. I have a hard time figuring out my spirit guide's calling card. I must be missing it. Suggestions? So it might take time. It's about not looking for it and continuing to do the calling card exercise and see if it happens. It's something that will develop. So don't rush it. I mean, honestly, it took me years to get to know my guide, and it's not for not trying. It was just I didn't have the exercise that I now teach, as well as tried different things to figure out what that would be. So just give it time. Can you tell where a person is at in their spirituality? Yeah, that's what's called a spiritual assessment. So spiritual assessment can be helpful in kind of identifying where you're at. So I offer spiritual assessments. You can get that through my website, mediummichaelmayo.com/book-now, or just go to mediummichaelmayo.com to book a reading. And that's where I do spiritual assessments. Okay, yeah, I'm very clear-sighted. I feel I have a great understanding of it without overwhelming me. Great, fabulous. That works. Need to figure out a day. Have class 5 days a week. Is there a right or wrong way to meditate? Kind of, yeah. I mean, it depends on what kind of meditation you're trying to do or what you're trying to achieve with your meditation, right? So if you're trying to meditate for stillness and quiet of the thinking mind, I would definitely not recommend doing some sort of creative visualization sort of thing. What you want is less going on in your mind. For example, if you are also trying to develop mindfulness and being present in the moment, you wouldn't want to be doing a chanting or a mantra. So it just depends on what your goal is. So yeah, I guess it depends on what your goal is. Let's see, where we go. Oh, I think I made it. I think I caught up. Amazing. Let's see what else we got here. Amazed at how young spirit shows her injured self pre-death to me pictures. Is this typical? Is it a specific spirit showing you? Her injured self pre-death to me pictures. Is this typical? I mean, it can be. I mean, spirit can show you all kinds of things. New here. Just curious, what are your thoughts on disturbing the dead through mediumship? Yeah, that's a great question. I'm glad you asked it. There is no disturbing the dead. They're not in some place of rest where they need to be just like left alone. They are everywhere. They are all at once. They're here now. It's just a matter of, are we aware of them? So you're not disturbing them at all. And it's kind of funny. I don't know if you ever heard the joke, like, that people have said is, with mediumship, oh, are we disturbing the dead? And the answer is often they started it, right? Like, it's often that they want to communicate with you. They want to say hello. They want to let you know that they're okay. They want to give you reassurance. Just like, I'm sure, if you were on the other side and you saw your loved ones in grief or in pain or sadness, and they think you're gone forever, you would want to tell them, I'm assuming, that you're okay, that you're fine. And so it's important for you to recognize that there is no disturbing them. They want to connect with us, just like you would if you could be on the other side. I mean, even if you were like traveling, right? Like, even when we travel, we go, oh, I want to make sure I give that person a call to let them know that I'm okay and I got here safely. That's exactly what your loved ones in spirit are doing. They're coming forward because they want to let you know that they're okay. They want to let you know that they still go on and that they're still very aware of what's going on in your life. So no, you're never disturbing them. You're never upsetting them. You're never doing anything like that. So I don't have a question, but loved your book. It has been great to have it as a support in this work. I respect the way you explain spirit connection and your energy. I hope to mentor with you soon. Oh, the Garden Medium. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that beautiful, beautiful review of how you feel about my book. I really appreciate that. And yeah, please let me know when you're ready to do some mentoring, because I'm here. I'm ready to go. So yeah, amazing. Thank you for that. I'm glad. I mean, I wrote that book to be able to hand it to someone and be like, hey, here's what you need to know to accurately and consistently make a connection to the spirit world. And so that's what that is. Again, as a reminder, I am going to be going live later tonight to do readings, mental mediumship, psychic, and potential healings. I'm not sure. We'll see how I feel on the day. I'll probably do at least a couple readings, but yeah. And I'm going to try to do it across the platform. Boom. Okay, I'm back. I don't know if I fucked that up. Okay. What time tonight? I go live generally at. Ooh, hold, please hold. Now this live cut off. There we go. Okay, it's back. I go live at around 7 o'clock Pacific, generally. I love how I just jacked up my friggin' thing there for a second. Okay, where did we go? Let's see what people say. I love that. Thank you so much. You're so welcome. Out of the multiverse. I'm glad that was helpful. Okay, so Sherry, if you ask the meditation question because your goal is to develop your abilities, you want to sit in the power. And sitting in the power requires a very specific mindset. So it's not about trying to make a link and communicate with the spirit world. It's not about trying to get messages or try to have some crazy experience. It's about learning to become passive and receptive and quiet the thinking mind. That's what you want to do. And then the second thing is you want to notice, how is my energy changing? What's changing from moment to moment? Notice, accept, let it go. Notice, accept, let it go. Notice, accept, let it go. That's all you have to do for that. And then just take note of what changes. I recommend using my guided meditation for that, as you're learning how to open your energy, as you're learning how to become sensitive, and it's really effective for helping you do that. You can get that at mediumlikeamaya.com. And it's under resources, I'm pretty sure. Have you noticed the further you get in mediumship journey, the more spiritual things happen? That's a good question. I guess it depends on what you define as spiritual things happening. I think that's what I would need to know. Is what you mean by that. My loved ones show me so much love and support in their development. That's amazing. We love that, Anne Marie. Never too late for mentoring. Michael is the best. Thanks, Melly. I do think I'm pretty good at I mean, if there's one topic that I know a lot about, it's spirit communication and psychic, mediumistic consciousness sort of world. Do you have any classes coming up soon? Would love to be mentored. So mentoring is something you can jump into pretty much at any time as long as I have a space. So that doesn't require that. If you've never taken any kind of mediumship development, I would recommend you starting off with Foundations 1 through Oakbridge, which starts in January. However, if 10 a.m. on Sunday mornings Pacific doesn't work for you, then I'm willing to take you as a mentoring student, and we'll take you through the Foundation series. But it requires a 12-week commitment to complete half of it, and then a 12-week commitment to complete the other half of it. Can't wait to be mentored with you. 2025, baby. Amazing. By the way, if anyone in the chat has been considering doing this meeting, this is the best class. Thanks, Alana. Appreciate that. She said, if anyone in the chat has been considering developing as a medium, this is the best class. And I have to agree. I'm biased, but I'd have to agree. But also, I think, even though I'm biased, I think it's accurate. I mean, my students who complete our Foundation series expansion and into advancing are freaking amazing. And they go from I can't do any of this to now I can do all of it. So, you know, I'm very proud of my students for sure. How can I help my 2-year-old daughter when she's being bothered by spirit at night? So number one, it's unlikely that they're being bothered by a consciousness in any sort of antagonistic way. One, you have to help them understand that if there is spirit or something present, it's not actually there to harm you, and actually it's there to love you, and there to support you, and there to be your friend. And it's oftentimes family members that are going to be drawing close to your child to make them feel loved and protected. And if there's not understanding around it, that's what makes them afraid. So you just have to explain to them that it's a loving presence, that it's something that cares about them. If they're having some sort of scary interaction, that's the child's mind, because the spirit would never do that. And it's just a misunderstanding. So that's their imagination. So yes, you just have to help educate, explain, help them understand. But a 2-year-old is pretty young, so I'm not sure what they're experiencing at 2. You'd have to give me a little bit more information. I could probably answer that a little more specifically. How do you feel about wanting to develop mediumship and wanting mostly to connect to specific people? Do you mean how do I feel about wanting to develop it just to communicate to specific people, meaning your loved ones in spirit? I don't see there's any problem with that. I think you can absolutely develop your mediumship to just communicate with them. That being said, to develop your mediumship properly, you will actually need to, you will actually have to read people that you don't know and connect with spirits you don't know. So that is a part of it. When does the next Foundations 1 class start? It starts in January. So we'll probably be opening that up for registration probably in December, maybe November, somewhere around there. Hey, Giselle. Good to see you. You're welcome, Shelley. I hope that was helpful. Abby, hi. Other questions, thoughts, feelings, opinions? So again, I'm going to be going live later tonight around 7 p.m. Pacific. So be on the lookout for that. I'll be doing readings, healings, and yeah, we'll be going from there. My sinuses are feeling very irritated though right now. I think it's the weather. All right, got time for just a few more questions if anyone has them. I do these lives every Monday. This is the Oakbridge Institute Q&A. And alternatively, I'll also be going live to do mediumship readings and healings. Thank you. When developing mediumships, Michael, I'm just rushing through everything. Thank you. When developing mediumship skills, how do you communicate with your own loved ones? Yeah, so that is interesting in that what you want to do is you need to learn to just become passive and receptive. That's ultimately the key to developing your mediumistic ability. And so if you're already developing your mediumistic skills, you just have to use your clairsentience as the way to receive the connection to your loved one in spirit. You don't want to try to imagine them or see them. It's about feeling them. That's the most important thing. So I really want you to let yourself become still and quiet, invite them to step forward, wait until you feel a shift in the atmosphere of them stepping in your energy, and then soften and relax. And don't get too excited when they step forward, because then you're going to disrupt your connection. So you need to just continuously relax, continuously let go, and that's going to help you connect with your own loved one. When you sit in the power, do you use that time to speak with your guides, or do you keep your mind free? I keep my mind free. So I never try to communicate with my guides during my sitting in the power time. That's my time to become still and quiet and let them do what they need to do. I don't really need to bug them about anything, so they can come to me and ask, or they can do whatever they need to do with me. Have fun, Melly. I'll see you tonight. I missed your response to my statement as monetizing my gifts. Yeah, so my answer was that doctors get paid for what they do. Physical therapists get paid for what they do. Pretty much any service industry thing gets paid for what they do. So there is no reason why you should also not get paid for what you do. It is your time, it is your energy, it is your space, and it is an exchange. I actually tend to find that people value things more when they pay for it than when they don't. That's just the way human psychology seems to work. Not to say that people that get things for free don't value it, but I find that when someone has invested something into it, they tend to value it and respect it more. So I do think that's important to, be paid. It doesn't have to be a lot. You can just cause it to be a number that is an exchange that is comfortable for both you and the other person. No one's saying it has to be a crazy amount of money, but just something that is exchanged, I think, is helpful. So, in any service industry job, any sort of role where we're helping or supporting other people, you should still get paid for that. She's been waking, but what I will say is that you should be paid for that if you're good at it. If you're not developed, if you haven't developed it yet, if it's not fully developed, I do not recommend going out and getting paid for things. You should know that you can consistently do the work that you're claiming you can do, and you can do it well. And if you can't do it on a given day, refund the person, because you shouldn't be taking money off of people if you're not doing a good job. When will the foundation courses open up again? They will open up in January. So you should be able to register for them probably late November would be my guess, is when you could probably start registering for them again. Let's see. She's been waking up screaming for me and said her room is scary. I sage and cleanse her room often. Okay, so yeah, there's definitely something else going on if she's just saying her room is scary. So you're going to have to try to see what else is happening, because that has nothing to do with the spirit world. Spirit world isn't scary. If any, so yeah, that's why I'm curious as to why you came to the conclusion that it was spirit related. Children have nightmares. Children have fearful things. I would also kind of look at and see what other circumstances are going on that might be doing that to further encourage that. So I would maybe try to do some kind of bedtime routine where there is, something, maybe it's a prayer, maybe it's a way of falling asleep. Maybe it's, some sort of routine that's going to help to soothe and create a safe, calming place. Maybe it's some sort of ritual that you do together to help her, make her feel more comfortable and more safe. Hey, Labradorite Queen, nice to see you. I'll be going live a little bit later for readings and that sort of thing. In case you're interested in seeing that. This is just the Oakbridge Q&A, which is coming to an end very shortly. Do you visualize anything during your energy healings? It depends on the technique that I'm using. So some techniques that I use during my energy healing are thoughtless. They are neutral. There is no thinking. There is just clarity. and just flow. That's actually the name of the one that I use for that. It's called Flow. And then when I am working more specifically, yes, there will be visualizations used. Now, the important thing, what I find, is that you can't just have a visualization and imagine energy moving to the issue or whatever's going on. You have to feel the energy moving to the issue. So you can have the visualization that represents the thing that you want to work on, but then you have to actually feel that energy moving to that person. Now, Charlie Goldsmith would say that you don't actually have to feel it for it to work. And he's pretty right with that. I mean, there's times where I don't feel it and yet it's still being effective. But I do think there's something to be said for having a sense of the energy moving, because if you're just doing, there's a difference between imagination and actually moving energy. And that's what you have to get clear on. And I think feeling helps you to differentiate between those two. Is it Reiki that you use for healing? No, it is not Reiki that I use for healing. The energy healing that I do doesn't have a name. It's not anything specific. There is no rules or anything. It's just energy medicine. It's just energy that comes from wherever, but whatever that thing is, it's good and it's helpful and it's healing. How many students are in the advancing class, or how many do you take? I plan to sign up. The advancing class, it never fills up. I mean, it's never like full. So I think this class started with 11, and then oftentimes people drop out when it comes to the 3 readings a week, which is such a shame that they do, because they're nervous or whatever. It's a shame that they do, because that's actually the most growth that I see in anything that we do at Oakbridge. Once they start reading the public like that, it just grows them tremendously. It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. Moving energy is my jam. I love learning it. That's exactly right, Janelle. You and me both, baby. Have you had any more success, Janelle, with yours? Let's see. Oh, good point. Thank you. You're welcome. How do you know when it's spirit versus when it's your mind starting to interfere? That's what development is for. That's why you do mediumship development. That's why you take time in your mediumship or psychic development to develop discernment. You only can get that through getting yeses and nos. So as you practice, as you develop, you're going to get yeses, you're going to get nos. There's going to be times where it's going to be accurate, and there's going to be times where it's inaccurate. And you have to learn what that feels like. Because when you got a yes, that's going to have felt a certain way. When you got a no, that's going to have felt another way. And you have to learn to tell the difference between the two. What time later are you going live for readings? What time zone are you in? I am going live for readings around 7 o'clock Pacific time. Is it okay to ask what you think of another medium? You can, but I probably won't tell you unless I really, really, really like them, and then I'll probably say that I really, really love them. But otherwise, I have to be careful on what I say on a live. Did you say your students need 30 or 3 public readings a week? 3 public readings a week. Not 30. Oh my God, can you imagine? I can't even do that. That's crazy. Oh my God, 30. That'd be nuts. What is the most I've ever done in a week? I think the most I've ever done in a week is 11. 11 or 12? Maybe 17? I can't remember. What is your price? I'm very interested in needing and develop my spiritual gifts. So it just depends on what you're trying to do. If you're trying to develop, like, it depends on how you want to develop. The most affordable thing is coming to the Sunday morning circle at 10 a.m. Pacific, and do it that way. And that's $35 a class. Or if you have a membership, it's $25 a class, which is essentially the price of your membership. What else? So that's one way. Another way is to do one of our foundation series. So foundations 1 through 3. You can find that at oakbridgeinstitute.org. That's what I would recommend for anyone who's never worked with me or Megan and Lisa before, is going through foundation series. Alternatively, if Saturdays at 10 a.m. don't work for you, then you can always do mentoring, and we can work through foundation series through that way. If you'd like to mentor with me, you can find that information at mediamicromayo.com/mentoring. So yeah, what platform are you going live on later? Sorry, I forgot to ask because I'm not sure. I think I'm gonna just go on here. I think I'm just gonna, wherever you're watching me is where I'm gonna go on. I think I'm gonna just do this exact same setup next time or tonight and just to experiment and see if I like it or not. And it just might be difficult to bring people up, and that's the only thing that kind of bugs. Because if you're in my Instagram live, you'd have to be able to come onto my StreamYard and I have to send a link, and it's just kind of annoying. But yeah, but if you're on TikTok, ideally that would be a good spot to be because I can just pull you up that way. And I can pull you up if you're on Facebook too. I can just send a link in the chat or whatever. So, but I would want you to come up actually on the thing for the reading. If we work weekends, how can we work with you? So yeah, so then you would send me a message through Media Michael Mayo and say, hey, I'm a beginner. I would like to work through the Foundations 1 series with Michael through mentoring because I can't do Saturdays. So yeah, that's how you would do that. Okay, I think that's it. I think that's the end of my live. I'll be here again next week at 2 o'clock at the same time to answer your questions. I do this every Monday at 2 o'clock Pacific. I am going to be going live later this evening to do readings and healing. So if you're interested in that, you can come back then. That's everything. So thank you, everybody. I will see you later tonight. Take care.